Hello, and welcome to the first of a series of videos detailing this year's sheep genetics analysis enhancements for 2024. This is the first video in a series of 4 that will be presented by myself, Peter Bradley, alongside development officers Chloe, Marnie, and Kate. This is the first video, which is an introduction into this year's analysis enhancements, and then there will be 3 other videos with details on each of the individual enhancements to be implemented. I'll be covering the introduction, themes, and key dates for the 2024 analysis enhancements. I'll first start with why do we want to continue to make updates to our genetic evaluation. It's really important that we first and foremost consider who are the end users of breeding values and where do we realise genetic progress within our Australian sheep flock. These are our seed stock producers or direct clients of sheep genetics, and of course, their RAM buyers. We at Sheep Genetics are responsible for the delivery of breeding values to both of these clients and industry, but we also work very closely with the Animal Genetics and Breeding Unit, who are responsible for continuing to create and develop the engine behind the sheep genetics evaluations that we use to calculate the breeding values. This genetic supply chain finishes with new genetics research and development, new data capture, and also where we get data from, and in particular, what sort of data are our breeders capturing. All of these new sources of data feed into the engine and redevelopment of the engine to calculate these breeding values. And finally, you can see how we can incorporate new genetics R&D into our genetic evaluation for sheep genetics to deliver those breeding values to our end users of breeding values and ultimately where we drive genetic progress. I would like to acknowledge the team at the Animal Genetics and Breeding Unit and the team of scientists on the slide in front of you for their work behind the enhancements of this year's sheep genetics evaluation. It's a mammoth effort to ensure that these are all rolled out smoothly, and I'd like to acknowledge each of the team for their contribution and hard work towards what we're about to implement in sheep genetics. One of the key things that has enabled us to continue to refine and develop our evaluation is our continued year-on-year growth, particularly apparent since 2018. Our new sheep genetics annual report, which contains details of the 2022-2023 financial year, shows that we've continued to grow our evaluations, both in terms of the number of clients we at Sheep Genetics are interacting with, but also the number of animals that are submitted annually for evaluation. The number of animals submitted last financial year is nearly double that of what it was 10 years ago. This has meant we're capturing many more traits and also many more animals for traits. This, coupled with developments and growth in things like genotyping, is a really key part of why we're able to continue to develop and enhance our evaluations. In summary, there are 3 key analysis enhancements for 2024. The first of these is new data sources and improved analysis for our carcass and eating quality traits. This will be implemented across all 3 of our main evaluations. The second enhancement is updates to our genomic breed references for our multi-breed lamb plan evaluations. This will enable new breeds of sheep to have access to genotyping or single-step evaluations. This is only to be implemented for our lamb plan multi-breed evaluations, so for our terminals and maternals. And our final enhancement this year is the release and final rollout of the updated MERINOSELECT indexes. These were released as research indexes for 12 months, and following a period of refinement and consultation, the final versions of these indexes will be rolled out as part of the 2024 enhancements. Remember, there are more videos to come that detail the impact and what each of these individual enhancements actually mean for the evaluations. If I was to summarise these enhancements into 2 key themes, I'd end up with our 24 enhancements being a year of refinement. We recognise that over the last 2 years, with major updates to our sheep genetics database and also our MERINOSELECT genetic parameters, that our clients have experienced larger than normal for sheep genetics updates to the evaluation. We really see 2024 as a year of refinement. We're not expecting major changes to breeding values as a result of the enhancements. Rather, we're looking at how we most effectively use data and use more of that data. And that links into key theme 2. Particularly with the updates to the carcass and eating quality evaluation, we're using more data and new data sources. This includes new sources of phenotypes, so some data that is now able to be captured in processes and how that flows into the genetic evaluation, as well as new genotypes coming in from breeds that we haven't been able to accept into the evaluations prior to this year. These enhancements will be implemented for the 15th of May land plan analysis and the 21st of May MERINOSELECT analysis. Remember that you won't actually see the impacts of these results until the results from these runs are published. These can be within 10 working days of these published run cutoff dates. Outside this short series of webinar videos, we will be also publishing our usual PDF guide to the 2024 analysis enhancements, which will be sent out to all our clients as well as available on the website. This is a summary of the enhancements, the evaluations they impact, and what that means for breeding values. As part of the MERINOSELECT index rollout, we will be updating all the resources that we made available last year with the research indexes to reflect the updates that have come out of the 12-month consultation period. And of course, our new Sheep Genetics podcast will contain an episode that spends time delving into each of this year's analysis enhancements. These resources for enhancements are on top of a range of existing resources that are really helpful for both commercial producers and sheep genetics clients to find out more information. For our commercial producers, there continues to be a range of resources available, and these will be updated where appropriate to reflect this year's enhancements. This includes MLA's Genetics Hub, which can be found at genetics.mla.com.au. This is a one-stop shop for commercial producers and includes resources that look at understanding what breeding values are, understanding what indexes are, how to set a breeding objective, and how to shop for high-performing sires. These are also linked through to our genetics e-learning modules, which are available via MyMLA. There's a number of modules here for commercial producers, such as shopping for high-performing sires, as well as modules tailored specifically for our sheep genetics membership. So things like an introduction to sheep genetics and also an introduction to MateCell. We're hoping to continue to update these e-learning packages with new resources that are relevant for our clients. And finally, in 2023, we released the updated pocket guide for ASBVs. This is a great resource, again, targeted at commercial producers in helping them understand what are breeding values, what do they mean, and how to use them in their ram purchasing decisions. There's a range of these that are printed and are available for distribution from Sheep Genetics. If you'd like any of these for upcoming ram sales and field days, please reach out directly to Sheep Genetics and we can arrange for these to be sent to you. Another interesting and valuable resource that was made available during 2023 was a series of short YouTube videos that detail the genetic evaluations and the things that actually underpin and sit behind this. This is a series of videos that the scientists from the Animal Genetics and Breeding Unit have compiled and look at the importance of things like fixed effects, genomics, correlations and linkage, and how these are used in the evaluation. These videos are no more than 3 to 4 minutes long and give a really good snapshot of how these things outside this year's enhancements are working day to day within your genetic evaluation. Another key resource that is just about to be released and is available online now is the Sheep Genetics Breeder's Guide to Quality Assurance. This is basically a Bible of recording for our sheep genetics clients. It details how to get data into sheep genetics and also the quality assurance guidelines behind each of the individual traits that are captured and submitted on farm to Sheep Genetics. This is available online and also in the PDF on the screen. Please note that if you are using the PDF and download it, to keep an eye out for new versions and the version number at the bottom of the page. Finally, the Sheep Genetics team will have and continue to have a presence at a number of key industry events. This would be a great opportunity to ask any questions that you might have around general data quality, but also this year's analysis enhancements. And the team will be equipped with the relevant documentation at each of these if you wish to discuss more. This includes things like the Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show, Sheepvention, Lambex, Adelaide, Keith, as well as a number of field days such as the MLP and MERINOSELECT field days, and a number of key breeder groups that we'll continue to work with. Also flagging that genetics will have a presence at the MLA updates, which is due to be held in Perth in October. That's all from me for the introduction. Please continue on to watch and hear about more detail on each of the individual enhancements.